Hey folks, it has been a while. 'Tis the season, busy, priorities. Today we are going to make chicken bone broth. I love making my own bone broth because it's super easy and then I know exactly what's in it. Okay, I have 3 frozen chicken carcasses from my local grocery store. They're rotisserie chickens. Is that the best chicken to use? I don't know. That's all I have. That's what I'm going to use. I don't buy whole chickens and then roast them myself. I struggle with all of that. So I'm going to share with you how I make my bone broth. This is not the way to make bone broth. This is how I make my bone broth. A lot of people make it with no seasonings. I don't do that because I'm going to end up putting seasonings in whatever I'm making anyway. So I tend to add onions, carrots, celery. Usually use the tops of the celery. The part that you usually cut off and throw away. The leafy stuff, although that looks kind of nasty. I'm going to have to trim that up a little bit. Carrots, onions. I stick a bay leaf in there, some peppercorns, salt, whatever. I have the Ninja Foodie. That's what I'm going to use. You don't have to use that. You just need a pot big enough to hold all your stuff and a good amount of water. It doesn't have to be a pressure cooker. I'm going to pressure cook mine because that's what I have. I hear a lot of people say that even if you have you have to let it boil for 24 hours or simmer for 24 hours. No, I don't think that's necessary. Honestly, when I make, even if I make like a pork roast or a beef roast or throw some chicken in a crock pot, and if I don't do anything with that juice and just put it in the refrigerator, it's still all collagen-y and jelly-like. So do you even really have to have bones? I mean, I know there's minerals and stuff in them, but I still get the same effect, the same jellied stuff without actual bones. So I don't feel like you need to put that much effort into something and let it sit and then keep an eye on the liquid levels and all that stuff. I feel like you can do it as long as you want. A couple hours on the stovetop, cool. I'm going to see if I wrote down how long I leave it in the foodie. For sure an hour. Anyway, we'll talk through that as we get there. So we have the pot. I'm going to trim these up a little bit. Ooh. Okay. Celery. I like the leaves. I think it leaves, whoa. I think it gives a really good flavor. Okay. And some carrots. You don't have to cut them up. I just get them in a more manageable size. I'm not sure that these are all going to fit. And they've already kind of started to thaw. So if I don't use them, I'll lose them. I'm just going to do a bay leaf, salt and pepper, and we'll throw an onion in there for good measure. I have one of my favorite holiday movies on called The Holiday. I love that movie so much. It makes me want to take a trip across the pond and see what life is like over there. A lot of people, when they use their pressure cooker and they make bone broth, they leave all these ends and stuff on. I do not do that. I've never tried it. I don't know that it matters one way or the other, but I don't think it does because, I mean, you strain it. I don't know. What do I know? I'm not a bone broth pro. I just know that my bone broth is really good. Okay, so there's that. Did you guys know, I don't know if you can see me, did you guys know that if you get your hands wet and rub them, if they stink, and rub them on stainless steel, it will take the smell away? Fact. Okay. That's pretty big, so I'm only going to put What, will it even come out? Okay. Well, that's, I'll use 2 because it's broken. And 1. Okay. I don't measure how much liquid to put in here. I just don't go over the do not fill past this line mark. All right, so here's 4 cups of water. Don't be splashing. Is there a hole in this pan? What's up? I see like no water. Let's see if this makes a dent. Here's 4 more cups. Okay, and maybe 4 more cups. Don't, why? Oh my God, what is that? Okay, pressure max. So I'm a little bit under the pressure max line. Now, I typically use peppercorns instead of ground pepper. So I just got, I don't know, a little teeny bit. I feel like you can see that. Just gonna sprinkle those around. They're easier to filter out when you do that. I feel like it should all be in the water though. Okay, and then some pink Himalayan salt. Not too much, you can always add more when you make your actual recipe. Okay, here we go. Pressure. Pressure, high, yes. Time, I'm gonna go 2.5 hours. And go. All right, I'll meet you back here when that's done, and then I'll show you how I kind of filter it, not filter, strain it, and how I store it. All right, see you back here. Wow. The broth is cooked for 2.5 hours, and I let the pressure cooker do a slow release, which is just let it cool down until that little valve thing drops down. That has happened, so I'm gonna pull it out, and then I still need to let it cool on the counter for a while because it's still really hot. And then once that gets done, we're going to strain it and pour it into these silicone molds, and then let those cool in the fridge. And then once they're kind of solidified, I'll slide this tray into the freezer and then let them get nice and hard. And then I pop them out and put them in a Ziploc bag, and I can pull out whatever I need. So I know that this is a 1/2 cup each section, and then I have this little one which is a 1/4 cup each section. So that's super nice, handy. Then you don't have to open a big ass box of broth for a cup. Oh, that's heavy. I would die if I dropped this. Oh my God, that's not even funny to think about. Okay. Why does it not feel super duper hot? Oh, it's hot. Okay. So I'll be back in a little bit and we will strain this out. So what I do is I have, this is the biggest glass thing that I have with a spout on it, and then I strain the bone broth, like get all the bones and seasoning out of it. So I take my hot pads because it's still pretty hot. And I make such a mess when I do this. Oh my God. Oh, I wanted to go this way. And then you gotta try to make sure that you're in the Pyrex thing, the measuring cup. So then I just start filling up each little section. The sucky part is if I have too much broth. And this is it. This is all I have for silicone molds. I do not skim off the fat. You can do that if you want. I'm keto, I like fat. And then we go in again. No, God dang it. I'm pouring into an onion that's spraying it all over the place. So So it's a good thing. That's why I have to do it in the sink, because what happened is piece of onion landed at the bottom of the strainer, and then I'm pouring into that and it's just spraying around it. That's the kind of shit that pisses me off. And once I get all of these filled, I will just, because they're still steaming, I'll let them sit here on the counter and just cool off a lot more, till there's no steam coming off of them and they are okay to put in the fridge. And honestly, the hardest part about making this bone broth is finding space in the fridge and the freezer to put this tray, at least for me. If you don't have silicone trays, like I'm gonna have some of this left over, that I won't have room in the silicone tray for it. So what I'm gonna do is probably let it cool, probably in this Pyrex thing, this measuring cup, struggling with my words today, and then transfer it into Ziploc bags. And that way I'll have quite a selection of measurements for whatever recipes that I'm using. Oh my God, really? Okay. I feel so out of whack. I haven't filmed in so long. Just completely out of it. I'm going to put a spoon across the pot. Let's see if I can film that. Let me stop. So that everything doesn't avalanche into my strainer. That would suck. This is going to sit out here and cool off for a little bit. Then, I mean, there's a little bit left in here. I don't know if it's worth really messing with. Once this is cooled and done its time in the fridge and done its time in the freezer, I will show you how I store it. All right, we'll be back later. Okay, it's the next day for making our bone broth, and I had put it in the refrigerator to let it cool, and then at some point moved it down to the freezer in the evening, and it's frozen overnight. The hardest part about making bone broth is figuring out how I'm gonna get that into my fridge. Because I have a small refrigerator, it's a counter depth one, I don't have a ton of room in there. I do eat a lot, so I got a lot of food in there, so it was tricky kind of refrigerator Tetris to try to work that out. I do want to show you what this looks like once it's cooled. Now this is just a little bit of leftover. I'm going to put that into a Ziploc bag that's marked with what it is and the date. A lot of people, when they make bone broth, they put apple cider vinegar in with their chicken bones and seasoning and water and stuff. I've done that before. Supposedly it's supposed to get more of the collagen and the minerals out of the bones. I don't know if that's true. I mean, how am I going to test that? I feel like it's pretty thick. That's not frozen. This is gelatinous. I could weigh this to find out how much is actually in here, but I'm not super concerned about it. If I just need a random little amount, that's what I'm going to use. But you can see how it's all like, it's chicken jello. Yum. Yeah, see, that's just a little bit. So in total, though, I got, we got about 16 cups of bone broth from this batch. So this is just a little teeny bit. I'm going to try to get it in there nice and smooth so it's easier to get out. I'm just going to pop this in the freezer and use it when I need it. Oh, it's heavy. Okay, now we're just going to pop these out and put them in a bag and then throw them back in the freezer. I'm going to put some gloves on just to kind of protect my hands from the cold. I mean, I know that it's barely protecting them, but the little ones, I'm going to do the little ones last so that they're on top. This is fun. Ugh. Should probably have an apron on too. Okay, look, this used to be easy. What's up? Old lady hands can't do anything? What the hell? There we we just gotta bust it up a little bit, I think. There, that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to just pop right out. And like I said, each one of these blocks is a half a cup. How do I know that? I measured it. I used a measuring cup. Just see how much liquid it would hold. And then you can see on the top there's a little bit of fat. That's always good. Go with this one. Oh my God, there we go, come on. Just gotta get it started, then you can just push from the back. This little one left, although, is that gonna close? Of course not. Okay, let's get these out. These are easy, the little ones. Didn't I get a bag for these? I sure did, where is it? Oh no, I did not. All right, we'll split those up. Then I can put half down in the big freezer. And I can leave half up here. Smart. I try to push out as much air as possible. I don't sweat it super bad. Kind of go through it really fast too. And this one, it's kind of satisfying. All right, folks. That is it for the bone broth. I hope you give it a try. Making your own bone broth gives you the peace of mind of knowing that you're eating the highest quality food that you can have. Like when you get bone broth out of a box, it's all liquidy and stuff. This is like chicken jello. So it's very easy. Like I said, the hardest part is trying to find a flat space in your refrigerator and your freezer to let it cool. You can also, once it's cooled, you can freeze it in these plastic bags too. Like, so you could spoon it in like I did with the little leftover bit, and you could measure out the typical amount that you would use. This works really well for me, so that's how I'm gonna go. Okay, kids, I don't think you can even see it, but let food be thy medicine, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.